Hi there. I'm going to take some time to share a little bit about myself and my journey into design. And before diving in, I'd like to invite you to join me with a hot beverage. I am drinking hot water and lemon, which I usually drink every morning, and it just keeps me going in the morning, I guess. Um, and yeah, before getting into the topic, I wanted to share a little bit about my identity. I was born in Colombo, Sri Lanka. An interesting fact, the country is in the shape of a mango. And I came to Canada in the 90s with my parents, and I was about 8 months old at the time. I speak Tamil, and this is how you would write my name in Tamil. My name is pronounced Pavitra with an invisible H that doesn't exist apparently. My name is actually derived from Sanskrit, which is an ancient language of Hinduism, and it means purity. I go by Pavi, and the right way to pronounce it is Pavi. My current lead was the first person to go out of their way to learn how to say my first and last name. In one of his recent talks that he did, where he talked about working in diverse teams, he talks about how a person's name is a magical sound to that person, and that we should learn to say each other's names so people feel comfortable to use their own names and work with you. After years of getting used to the American way of pronouncing my name, I like to make it the norm to introduce my name the way it should be pronounced. And I'd like to invite everyone to say that magical sound, and that is someone's name of your own accord. Today, I'm going to be sharing a story about how I moved into design and how it wasn't that easy journey that people might make it seem to be. And hopefully, you'll be able to take some of these learnings away and apply them to your own journeys. So, let's get a little bit uncomfortable and vulnerable together. I used to be a biochemist and was doing pretty well. And I was never attached to my work in my prior career as a biochemist. In fact, I didn't care much about it. There was a set schedule. I'd go home as soon as my shift ended and didn't really think about it after. The tasks were mundane and repetitive. There wasn't much for me to think about while I was doing a task. And I never really understood at the time, but I was constantly changing jobs. I think I never stayed at a place for more than 2 years, maybe. I was at an all time low working as a biochemist. I would wake up every day and just feel not great. And every day I dreaded getting into work, and there was no learning for me or overcoming new challenges, but it was just following the same road steps day to day. I wasn't able to see the results of my work and the impact it had, and it was slowly killing me from the inside. I assumed that I'd have to live with my career choice and endure it. It wasn't until my partner brought to light that career transitioning was an option did I actually think of even considering it. And at the time, I learned about UX as an upcoming field, and I researched and I thought hard about it. I had to talk to a lot of people and research more into the topic. The decision took me a lot of time to think through with the bills and responsibilities I had, and a lot of things being tied to my financial income. I took the plunge, quit my job, and took a full time immersive course in UX. I loved it. I met so many amazing people that I'm still in touch with through the course till this day. And I learned so much about myself and what I really care about. I felt like I lived through the projects and work that I produced, and I thought it was going to be a really smooth sail, and I'll have a job handed to me on a silver platter after completing the course, since that's pretty much what you hear everywhere about how easy it is to land a UX job because there's so many out there. That's where people were wrong. It wasn't hard to find a job. I had to hustle really hard and did everything I could to get my foot in the door. By that, I mean sending cold LinkedIn messages for coffee, pre COVID, of course, attending all design social events, and forcing myself to get out of my introvert comfort zone to talk to people. And it was painful and demoralizing. I recall sitting across from a design lead who refused to make eye contact with me and didn't pay attention to a word I was saying because I was considered inexperienced. I had a CEO tell me that all designers coming out of design boot camps are garbage. These innumerable rejections made me feel worthless, and since people didn't see the potential in my work, I'm therefore useless. This was a hard pill for me to swallow, and at the same time, because I met a handful of selfless and kind individuals through these cold reach outs, who took the time to share their learnings and provide feedback on my portfolio and cheer me on. The first person who saw potential in me was Mike Constanzo, and he was the first person to review my portfolio, and he never forgot me. He went out of his way to cheer me on and check on my progress constantly, give me feedback. And this led me to one of my initial learnings, which was to find cheerleaders. This really kept me going and made a huge difference during my time of struggle. In fact, helped me remember my true worth. During my job search, I also jumped on any project I could get my hands on, which included doing free work, volunteering, and hackathons. Keeping myself busy with other things gave me a sense of purpose and helped reassure my worth as a designer, which was one of my second learnings. And finding these other things to shift your attention to, even if that meant working for free, since ultimately you're doing this for yourself. It was around this time that I landed my first design job. Was I able to really look back and understand that it was worth it? Had I not embraced the rejection lows and struggles that I had, I would never understand nor appreciate the highs after getting a job in the industry. So, career transitions are difficult, and hats off to those of you who've been successful, who are trying, and who've been through a similar journey. This taught me to accept the rejections and to not let it get in the way of it defining my worth. Embrace those rejections because they don't define you, you define them. Even as I progress in my career, it hasn't been a perfect journey, and I don't expect it to be so. I'm not saying that I stopped tying my self worth to my work or my abilities because I'm really passionate about what I do now and I genuinely care about the work. So, yeah, sometimes you do take things a little bit personally because you care. But through this career transition, I've really learned to investigate that feeling. And what I've learned is to embrace it and experience the highs and lows as they come. Find your cheerleaders to remind you of your worth. That could be your family, your friends, your pets. And taking the time to reflect and remember. For me, uh, reflecting on what I've been through and experienced, and this can be challenging because we often don't take the time to do this. And I think it's important to remember and appreciate your own journeys. It's really helped me to talk through my lows with someone I trust. And often the idea we return to is that it's okay to feel frustrated or upset. It's the actions that you take after that really matter. I hope that my learnings help you understand how you can cope with tying your self worth to your work and be able to embrace the highs and lows of your own journeys. I'm still riding my roller coaster and I'm just starting to learn the best points in the ride to raise my arms so I can experience it best. And feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to chat about this more. You can catch me on Twitter or DM me on Instagram, or you can leave some comments right below here. And this is just an excerpt from a talk that I did um, not too long ago about my journey and tying my self worth to my work. I've reformatted it in a way where I'm sharing a snippet of my journey into design with you. And hopefully, you've had some things to take away from this. So, thanks everyone. Have a fantastic day.